Everyone would agree with what I just said.
It's on YouTube, isn't it?
No.
Now this is on YouTube.
But isn't it better than
Do you know what Chris Skeeter just said?
Look, it's recorded!
So we're talking about Christians, neo-Christians, non-Christ followers. This is the marcation of salvation. We have Christians on one side. Neo-Christians are those people who think they are Christians, but they are not. Let me give you an example. I'm going to not talk about the kid who started FCA first. I'm going to talk about this. And I don't remember her name, but it was her first night at FCA. And one of the things Stan liked to do is have this question game and get to know you game when new people came. And so he asked the question of this new girl and said, "How did you become a Christian?" And she said, "Well, I'm an American."
Oh.
She just assumed that because this is a Christian nation, right? That she was one. Okay? She thinks she's a Christian, or she at that time. But she thought she was a Christian, but she wasn't. That's a neo-Christian, thinking that by it being born in the United States by default you are a Christian. And then there are those who are not Christ followers, and they know they're not. And so they have heard the gospel, but they've rejected the gospel. So now I'll talk about Andy. I'm going to talk about two guys. Oh, I probably shouldn't use two guys. Andy, I'm actually going to say that. Andy and Todd. Andy was the one that went to Stan and said, "I want to start an FCA at Miller North." And I came on board shortly after that. Andy was one of my very favorite students at Miller North. He was a bright kid. He was just such a nice young man. Like, he was so upright. But he didn't know Jesus. He was a churchgoer, but he didn't know Jesus. And I don't remember how long it was into it, but we preached the gospel often, but I'm sure it was Stan that was speaking at it. But he explained the gospel in a way that for the very first time, Andy realized what the gospel was. He realized that he wasn't saved. And he left. Because he couldn't be on board with it. He goes to college. He gets involved. He has somebody reach out to him that's in a Christian ministry, and he goes to that Christian ministry. And then another young man, Todd. Todd was very well known at Miller North. He was the starting quarterback. He ended up being the quarterback for Iowa State for, I think, 3 years, maybe all 4 years. Really neat kid. He came to FCA one time. At least this is my memory, and remember, this is like 30 years ago now, something like that. He came to FCA one time, and we presented the gospel. Again, great kid, church-going family, and thought he was a Christian, and he wasn't. And he heard the gospel, and it freaked him out. And I remember Stan and I talking to him, and telling him more about Christ. And he left. He never came back. He went to Iowa State, got involved with the Christian ministry, and now he's a pastor. And actually, his church, I don't know if it's still there, but his church was moving at some point. So, what are you doing?
I did the pastor.
Oh, is it time to go?
Yeah.
Wow, that
Yeah.
went fast. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and go. We'll pick up here tomorrow. We'll get caught up with the other class.
Not tomorrow.